Now, Isaiah Sharp with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
I mentioned it earlier, another cool and clear night here in the Gem State. 24 the current temperature right now, and those cold conditions are not going anywhere. Even colder expected on the way going into this weekend. But what we won't be seeing is a ton of snow. You want to know a place that's seeing a lot of snow right now? New Orleans. Take a look at this photo that was sent in from Margaret Rakowski, and that is about a foot of snow sitting on that table. Impressive to see just how much is accumulated in over the last 24 hours. We're talking about historic numbers that haven't been seen since the 1800s. That's how long it's been, and a lot of these records honestly have been broken in the last 24 hours. And not just here in New Orleans, other places as well. Northern Florida getting a lot of snow activity on top of that too. Taking a quick look at the pattern of this system as it passed on through, and you can kind of see it almost like a paintbrush passing on over. 12 inches in northern Florida, places like southern Alabama and Georgia on top of that as well. Of course, I mentioned New Orleans seeing a bit of activity on top of that too, and all of these numbers truly historic for a lot of these areas. And you can see the difference when it comes to just a few miles to the north. Montgomery only seeing about an inch. To the south of Tallahassee, they got rain because the temperatures were too warm, and so this system just very stray and very particular where it was hitting, but really impressive nonetheless. Taking a look at some of the temperatures that we're seeing across the United States and cold temperatures on deck. You can see 40s down in Orlando, at least a little bit warmer, but really cool in the south. Up here in the Gem State, sitting into the 20s, 25 what we're seeing up to this point. And I mentioned it earlier, there's a potential off the coastline of a system moving on into our area. We will see a drop in temperatures, and the potential of snow flurries are on the way. Let's take a look at what we're going to be seeing over the next couple of hours. This is Saturday. Friday night is we're expecting into the Treasure Valley the potential of snow flurries, but the National Weather Service saying that there's about a 6% chance of less than 1/10 of an inch falling in our area. So don't get your hopes up too much, unfortunately. This is about as much activity as we're going to be seeing going into this weekend, and then more dry skies expected after that. A dip in temperatures over the weekend will warm back up going into the next week, but the next time we're going to see snow pass on over is going to be February 2nd. That's only just going to be happening to the north of us. More clear conditions expected for southern Idaho, and really not too much activity. The potential going into February 7th, this is pretty far forecasting when it comes to it. This system may stray on over, bringing in a little bit of activity for us, but at this point it's tracking to Wyoming. So we'll pay attention to it for you, but don't expect too much activity. Very light chances expected going into this weekend. But the cold temperatures are going to rain on. Take a look at what we've seen up to this point since midnight. Stanley at -15, only 1 degree over in Ketchum, into the teens over here in Caldwell, 12 degrees in Boise, even cooler down the I-84 corridor, and we're not going to get any warmer going into Saturday or Sunday. Taking a look at what we're seeing tomorrow, almost going to break into the 40s for most areas, but sitting just under that at 30 degrees, and teens across the board with more clear skies on the way. Western Central Mountain's going to be sitting into the 20s for McCall and Cascade, single digits all the way down, as you can see. A little bit warmer over in Cambridge and Council, warmer in Riggins, Idaho as well. Taking a look at your extended forecast for McCall, sitting into the 20s and then dipping even further going into this weekend. -2 expected to be the low for Sunday, but man, really cool conditions across the board. Over here in the Treasure Valley, a slight bump in temperatures. There's those light chances of precipitation expected for us, and then 20s are going to fall into teens going into this weekend. There's that drop in temperatures I mentioned. Nothing too crazy. We'll warm right back up into those mid-30s though, so don't you worry.